If I don't make my...
There's a moment in every artist's life when the industry stops listening and starts counting losses. You remember it by the smell, studio coffee gone cold, the hum of tape machines running on fumes, the weight of rejection letters stacked on a desk. These 13 stories happened in 1980. They're about people who refused to accept the no and built their own path through sheer stubbornness. Barry White spent 12 years invisible, earning $40 a week. George Clinton worked a barbershop day shift to fund failing tours. Michael Jackson recorded a demo on a toy marimba in his basement because his father couldn't know he wanted to sing differently. What follows is what happens when the wall finally breaks. Number 13 takes us to Barry White and It's Ecstasy When You Lay Down Next to Me in 1977. White had already lived a decade and a half in the shadows. Between 1960 and 1972, he was invisible, not unknown, but erased. His own single, Little Girl, went nowhere. He took session work at $40 a week, building hits for other singers while keeping his voice locked away. The industry didn't want to hear him. Then in 1977, he gambled everything. He took his deep ballad reputation and pushed it into disco funk territory at 115 beats per minute. His spoken word style could have drowned in the noise. Instead, the track hit number 1 on the R&B charts and went gold. When you lay down next to me. The victory carried weight because White remembered something else. His time in prison during the 1950s. That memory made him obsessive about controlling his studio, about never returning to the street. He had earned this moment through years of invisible work. At position 12, Nile Rodgers and Bernard Edwards arrived with Good Times in 1979. They had spent 7 years being dismissed as the Big Apple Band. Sophisticated musicians trying to prove that black musicianship could be both complex and commercial. Atlantic Records gave them an ultimatum in 1977, simplify or get dropped. On a single session at Power Station Studio A, Rodgers made his move. Let's cut the road, little child and gentleman. He built a walking bass line at 110 beats per minute that defied every frantic disco trend around them. The risk was real. If it failed, their career ended. The song hit number 1 and sold 5 million copies. But the industry turned on them anyway. The disco sucks backlash of 1980 forced them into years of ghostwriting for other artists. We want the best. We won't settle for less. What remained was a specific bass grit that Queen would borrow for Another One Bites the Dust, a debt that still echoes. In the 11th position stands Earth, Wind & Fire with In the Stone from 1979. Morris White had already failed twice. Between 1969 and 1971, 2 Warner Brothers albums collapsed. The original 10-member roster dissolved. He was sleeping on studio floors while the label pressured him to abandon his spiritual funk vision for 3-minute radio pop. Years later at ARC Studios, White took a massive risk. He built a 55-second brass fanfare as the song's intro. Expensive, non-commercial, exactly what the label warned against. During a volatile market with disco audiences demanding quick hits, he refused to cut it. The song reached gold status and became the processional theme for HBO's World Championship boxing broadcast. That orchestral arrangement transformed into a signal of defiance. Modern drum corps and marching bands still use it to project dominance. White had turned a high-risk choice into permanent architecture. Here's something that hurts. Only 1% of viewers on Music Express FM are subscribed. 99 out of 100 come for the ride, feeling the energy, discovering songs that hit right in the chest, yet you haven't joined us. Why walk away when the engine is running? Subscribing costs absolutely nothing, but it guarantees you'll always catch the next great track before anyone else. This isn't just a playlist, it's a movement. Don't listen from the sidelines. Be the 1% that fuels the music. Hit subscribe and stay on board. Number 10 brings Prince and Uptown from 1980. Between 1978 and 1979, he faced pure rejection. Two albums failed to crack the top 10. He owed Warner Brothers $500,000. The industry had pigeonholed him as a disco act, ignoring his rock ambitions and his desire to break Minneapolis's racial and stylistic walls. On May 19, 1980, at his home studio on North Arm Drive in Lake Minnetonka, Prince recorded Alone. He assumed the full risk of being a one-man band, engineering, playing, producing everything himself. The Dirty Mind album eventually hit gold. But the scar came later when he opened for the Rolling Stones in 1981 and the crowd pelted him with bottles. That humiliation stuck with him. It's visible today in artists like Frank Ocean, who cite Prince's refusal to be categorized as their own permission to resist genre walls. At position 9, George Clinton in Parliament delivered Theme from the Black Hole in 1979. Clinton's drought was even longer than White's. Between 1955 and 1967, he charted nothing. He survived on $50 a week as a songwriter at Joe Bait, while the Parliaments worked day shifts at a Plainfield barbershop to pay for gas to fail in tours.
Hey, let's go to that change, y'all. Let's go to that change.
In 1979, Clinton leveraged a massive $12,000 budget into a sonic gamble. He used the ARP-2600 synthesizer to create laser frequencies that risked alienating traditional R&B radio programmers. He wanted complete creative control, and he took it. The Glor Hella Stupid album hit gold in 1980. Clinton was managing over 50 touring members by then. But the victory carried a scar. He had lost the Parliament's name in a 1960s contract dispute. That loss fueled the defiant wall of sound he built, now echoed in modern G-Funk's heavy synth bass. In the 8th position, Lakeside arrived with fantastic Voyage in 1980. The band had endured 8 years of anonymity across 3 failed label stints at Curtom, ABC, and It's a Thing. They were rebranded repeatedly from the Ohio Players to Lakeside Express and forced to wear polyester suits they hated to satisfy club owners' rigid expectations. On a 1980 session at Studio Masters in Los Angeles, they gambled on a self-produced nautical concept. Industry skeptics said no. They used a Moog source bass line and a proprietary boogie tempo that risked their final contract with Solar Records. They believed their Dayton, Ohio funk roots were commercially viable. The song hit number 1 on the R&B charts in 1981 and earned gold certification. The victory was defined by memory. Their 1970s period sharing single-room apartments in Los Angeles, broke and struggling. That resilience echoes today through West Coast G-Funk producers who sample their groove and cite its structural toughness as the sonic standard. Number 7 belongs to the Jacksons and Shake Your Body from 1978. Between 1976 and 1978, their chart performance collapsed by 75% compared to their Motown peak. Epic Records executives dismissed their songwriting abilities and forced them to record outside material, disco-heavy sessions that stripped away their R&B soul. In August 1978 at Dawnbreaker Studios, Michael and Randy Jackson seized control. They self-produced the Destiny sessions and risked $1 million budget on themselves. The emotional weight was crushing. If this failed, they would be dropped from the label permanently. The track achieved double platinum status and fueled a 36-city world tour. The internal victory mattered more than the chart position. Michael had finally proven he could outproduce his former mentors. That validation echoes today in the stutter step rhythmic template that modern performers like Bruno Mars use to command stadium crowds. At position 6 stands Roger Troutman and Zapp with More Bounce to the Ounce in 1980. Troutman's invisibility lasted 13 years. Between 1966 and 1979, he remained regionally obscure. His 1976 solo debut on Curtom Records failed. The industry dismissed him as a James Brown imitator while he hauled heavy Hammond B3 organs through the grueling Ohio club circuit. In early 1980 at United Sound Systems in Detroit, George Clinton intervened. He secured a deal with Warner Brothers and ended Troutman's financial desperation through a high-stakes session. Troutman risked his reputation on a custom-built talkbox that caused actual dental pain and physical exhaustion to perfect. The 1980 gold certification validated over a decade of toil. Troutman took total control of his own Troutman Sound Labs and never relinquished it. That specific talkbox grit remains the sonic DNA for modern West Coast hip-hop anthems today. In the 5th position, James Brown faced Get Up Off of That Thing in 1976. Between 1974 and 1975, Brown was drowning. The IRS slapped him with a $4.5 million tax lien. His chart dominance evaporated. He was forced into a relentless 300-night-a-year touring schedule across the Chitlin circuit just to avoid total insolvency and losing his private jet. Good God. So good. On April 22nd, 1976, at Future Sound in New York, Brown made a desperate move. He brought his daughters in as writers to bypass publishing disputes. The resulting track was born from urgency. He needed to reclaim the Godfather title after being dismissed as a relic by the rising disco movement. Good God. So good. The single peaked at number 4 on the R&B charts, ending a 2-year drought of top-tier hits. The victory was etched in his relentless work ethic, a grit mirrored today in Bruno Mars' live performances, demanding the same punishing physical precision Brown used to command his band. Number 4 brings Teddy Pendergrass with Turn Off the Lights from 1979. For 6 years, Pendergrass had been secondary, a drummer and vocalist for Harold Melvin and the Blue Notes, earning just $500 a week. He provided the group's signature grit while remaining legally and financially tethered to a frontman who restricted his creative freedom. On a 1979 session at Sigma Sound Studios, Pendergrass gambled his hyper-masculine reputation on vulnerability. Gamble and Huff coached him into a hushed, intimate vocal delivery. The risk was real. His core audience could have rejected this softer persona. The takes were grueling and repetitive, perfecting the lover man voice. The payoff came in 1980 when he achieved 5 consecutive multi-platinum albums, the first black male artist to reach that metric.
See, there's something that I wanna.
The triumph was underscored by memory. His women-only concerts, where the crowd's physical devotion finally validated all those invisible years in the back of the stage. At position 3, Yarbrough and Peoples arrived with Don't Stop the Music in 1980. Seven years of anonymity in the Dallas club circuit had left Kevin Yarbrough and Alisa Peoples stranded. Their group Grand Theft collapsed in 1977. They were relegated to background vocals for Leon Russell while the industry ignored them. On a 1980 session date at Total Experience Studios, Charlie Wilson of the Gap Band gambled his own reputation. He insisted they record a stripped-down, synth-heavy demo that defied the era's lush disco standards. The couple risked their final savings on a sound the industry deemed too sparse. a 1981 R&B #1 certification held for 8 consecutive weeks. Their legacy became the Dallas Sound, a regional grit that echoed through 1990s G-Funk when Tupac sampled their groove heavily. Their refusal to abandon their roots transformed a one-hit stigma into permanent DNA for West Coast hip-hop. Number 2 belongs to Leon Haywood in Don't Push It, Don't Force It from 1980. Between 1967 and 1974, Haywood cycled through 5 different record labels: Fat Fish, Decca, and others. For 7 years, he was creatively invisible. The industry pressured him to emulate the Motown sound against his Texas blues instincts. Minor regional hits came and went, providing neither financial autonomy nor artistic freedom. On a 1980 session, Haywood gambled his remaining industry capital. He pivoted to a self-produced, minimalist synth-funk arrangement that defied the high-pressure demand for traditional disco orchestration. The track hit number 2 on the R&B charts. The gold-certified success of the album naturally secured his transition from struggling performer to power broker producer with his own Evagem Records imprint. That legacy of self-reliance echoes today through Dr. Dre's Nothing But a G Thing, which sampled Haywood's 1975 work and solidified his status as a permanent architect of West Coast sonic identity. At position 1 stands Michael Jackson with Off the Wall from 1978. Between 1975 and 1978, Jackson remained tethered to the bubblegum stigma of the Jackson 5. Epic Records executives rejected his songwriting in 1977, deeming it not good enough to produce himself. The social friction forced him onto the Astoria, Queen's set for The Wiz, where he worked 14-hour days in 100-degree heat as a secondary character. He was escaping the creative vacuum of his family's shadow. On December 4th, 1978, at Alan Zent's recording in Hollywood, Jackson staked his professional autonomy on Quincy Jones, a jazz-leaning producer the industry labeled too academic for pop. The session for Don't Stop Till You Get Enough carried real risks. Jackson had recorded the demo on a toy marimba in his basement because he was terrified to let his father hear his new falsetto-driven direction. The Off the Wall album earned 9 times platinum certification and delivered 4 top 10 singles. At the 1980 Grammy Awards, he won only 1 trophy, a brutal rebuke that fueled deep resentment and obsessive outwork for years to come.